Hey guys, welcome to what is going to be the second part of my ongoing 4-part video series where I'm sharing my thoughts on all of the NHL's new Adidas Adi0 jerseys. So in my last video, I covered the NHL's Metropolitan Division, so for this video, I'm going to be talking about the NHL's Atlantic Division. So truth is, there's one thing I like to do with these video series. Truth is, I like to do a little bit of a brief recap from the last video, just to help kind of, well, get the video started. And don't worry, I will keep it short and sweet. So, a couple things I forgot to mention from my last video was, number one, truth is, if the New York Rangers were to get an alternate uniform again, I would strongly prefer the one that said New York on the front in navy blue over a Lady Liberty jersey again. But if they were to have a second alternate, I would be so down for the Rangers to either come out with a new fullback jersey or a new actual throwback jersey, which basically their design for the most part has stayed the same. So either a fullback or, of course, something new with the Lady Liberty design to it. I would be okay with that. But for me, I strongly prefer the one that says New York on the front. Now, the second thing I also wanted to mention is that one thing that I don't like about the Blue Jackets and the Capitals Adidas jerseys is that the piping along the front now looks very squared because of the squared off Adi0 template. And personally, that's something that I don't like about either set of uniforms now. And this is also an issue that I have with the Los Angeles Kings as well. So, was there anything else I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, with Carolina, I did mention the fact that I wanted the secondary. I would have liked the secondary logo from their third jersey from last year to be on the shoulders of their jerseys this year. And of course, if Adidas would actually fix the Adi0 collars, because I think they're terrible. Also, oh yeah, there is something else that I do want to mention before I get going here on this video. A couple things. I'll mention some of my commenters on my last video. To Pie Eater, I agree with you. I really like the Hurricanes' new jerseys. They are definitely the red one is definitely one of the best upgrades with Adidas. To another viewer whose name is Ryan Cross, you said that the Adidas jerseys feel better than the Reebok ones. I find that very interesting. And to be honest, I'm actually not surprised to hear you say that. I mean, with Adidas, you know, I could see them. I would like to believe that with the Adi0 jerseys, they would try and make them more comfortable. I would hope so. Question that is interesting. That's a question I'd like to find out myself once I get a chance to have a feel for the new Adidas jerseys and get to see them and see what they're like in person. I would be interested to know how I think of them myself. So that was an interesting point. I enjoyed reading your comment, to be honest with you. As for the Weedas Heat 96, I can't agree with you more on the Devils. They're horrible. Their new uniforms suck. Basically, I agree with everything you've said. And as for Nick Signor, I will be talking about the Boston Bruins change to their socks shortly. And thank you for pointing that out. I do appreciate it. So, without further ado, you guys, I am going to get started with the team that I just mentioned, the Boston Bruins. So, these are their new Adidas uniforms, and as you can see, they really have not changed too much. Unfortunately, they have the Adi0 collars, but it's not so bad, and the shoulder patches are now higher up, which personally, I don't like that very much. So, the jersey design itself has not changed, and I think that's fantastic. I think Boston's jerseys are really quite nice, in my personal opinion. So now, this is what my subscriber Nick Signor was getting at with the new socks. Personally, I think the black socks on the Bruins home jersey actually look pretty decent. But, as I say that, I have a real issue with it. To me, The Boston Bruins black jersey and home uniform without their golden yellow socks is like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the goddamn jelly. It just doesn't look right. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I think the black socks actually look good here. But to me, they are not anywhere near as good as the gold socks they've had forever. The golden socks are a long time part of the Boston Bruins history. No different than the 3 sets of stripes on the Toronto Maple Leaf socks that they've had since they switched to their last look all the way back in 1992, before they switched to their current look last season. And this is one thing that pisses me off about Adidas. They have been getting rid of the traditional sock striping of now a second original 6 team, and it really disappoints me. As somebody who is big on original 6 teams keeping the things that like their sock striping that make them unique, or in this case the color of their socks, it pisses me off. And you know what, to be honest with you guys, I would be open to the Boston Bruins pulling a Nashville Predators like the Predators did even a couple seasons ago, where they would wear their gold helmets on Saturdays, and maybe one day a week, like say every Sunday home game, they would wear their black socks with their home jersey. I would be okay with that. But to get rid of the gold socks, in my opinion, is an honest mistake. Honestly, I think it's a serious mistake. And you know, if they had to make the striping on the socks match the arms, why couldn't they have just done that with yellow socks with matching stripes? Like, say, 2 black stripes here and a white one in the center. Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me why they decided to get rid of the gold socks. I think it was a mistake. The golden socks have been a part of the Bruins uniform history for decades, and I can't believe they've just decided to get rid of them just because they can. I mean, the black socks look good, but the gold socks are what make the Bruins uniform the Bruins uniform. I mean, it's just not, the uniform's just not going to be the same without the socks, and it really disappoints me, in my opinion. So the jersey itself, though, is still great, but the numbers no longer have the black outline between the gold and the white. And personally, I actually think I like the black outline on the numbers better. I think basically what they probably should have done is they should have done, like, see this is the Bruins' 3rd jersey up here. Somebody's wearing it in the crowd here, eh? If they would have had the names on the back in just solid gold with white and no black trim around them, and then had the black trim on the numbers still, I think that probably would have been the best bet. Let's take another look here. So this is the Bruins' away jersey. I got this picture here of it. Notice that there's no longer any white trim. I know my picture here kind of makes it look like there's a bit of white trim. There isn't. It's just solid black with gold trim. In this case, I actually think it looks good. But on the home jersey, I don't like it quite as much. And also, with the Bruins away jersey, I know the sock striping now matches the striping on the arms of the away jersey as well, which I'm okay with that. I'm just not okay with the black socks instead of the gold ones for the Boston Bruins. Also, they've slightly changed their letter font on the back. I think it's a little bit smaller now, a little bit more compact. I guess it's okay. I would have to see it a little bit more on the ice before I can make a final judgment on that. And I'm curious to see what that looks like. But to be honest, I don't know if I like just the solid gold numbers on the jersey here. They don't look right. I think they do actually look better with the black trim around them still, like they had last season. And I think, if anything, they should have just fixed the letters on the back, not necessarily the numbers. But once I have a little more time to see it, I will have a more... you know what, it'll be interesting to when I go and make my final thoughts video on this at the end of this coming season, because to me, the Bruins uniform, so far, I'm liking what they had last season a little bit more than what they're going to have for this season. So anyways, moving on to the Buffalo Sabres, but I will say I do like that the Bruins don't have the white trim on their away jersey now, between the gold and the black. But for the home jersey, I'm kind of thinking they should have kept the black trim between the white and the gold on the numbers. And as for the letters on the back, from what I've seen so far, I think they will be an improvement. But anyway, I'll have to see them on the ice a little bit more until I can really know for sure if I like it better or not. But anyways, I'm going to move on to the Buffalo Sabres. So the good thing about the Sabres is that they've cleaned up their uniforms. The piping is gone. So this is one thing about the Adi-Zero jerseys now, is that the piping is gone. And the pit stains on Buffalo's jerseys are now gone too. But I'm talking about all of the teams in general. No more vertical piping, like this crap here on the Sabres jersey. And the Calgary Flames as well, which I will get to them very soon once I get to my video on the Pacific Division jerseys. And for anyone interested, I'm going to save that one for last for an obvious reason, because we've got the Vegas Golden Knights to talk about, and I can't wait to talk about them. You guys have no idea how excited I am about that. But anyways, so the Buffalo Sabres have cleaned up their jerseys. That's great. But there's still a couple things that I do have issue with. Number one, they still have the front numbers. Like, even the San Jose Sharks have gotten rid of their front numbers. Why have you guys not gotten rid of them yet? This is just such a huge head scratcher for me. But also another thing too, I hate what they've done with the Adi-Zero collar, especially on their home jersey. Like, you've got the Adidas 3 stripes for the lacing. You've got this big, ugly gray or white block, which I think it's gray. Then you've got this half gold, half blue Turdberger inspired collar, which I'm talking about their last half yellow, half navy third jersey. And it looks like their collars were inspired by that jersey, which is not good. And the striping here on the away jersey, I feel that the navy blue striping is too thin for my personal liking. I mean, these jerseys are better than what they were this past season, but if they would have taken off the front numbers and would have kept this Reebok edge collar like the Reebok jersey there, these jerseys would have been actually substantially upgraded. But still, these are most certainly better than what they've been wearing since about 2010. But I do think they could have done better. I mean, seeing that the piping's gone is great. I don't even mind the little bits of silver on the uniforms, but I think most of us will agree that the Sabres need to just go back to their original royal blue and gold jerseys. Those are the ones they need to go back to. And also, I will quickly touch base on the Winter Classic. They've got a logo that's got the buffalo, and this buffalo here, and it says Sabres in it, and I believe it's a gold-colored buffalo this time. And they've also got their logo in royal blue, and it says New York, the initials NY between the two sword handles here. And I don't know what they're going to do with their jerseys, but I have a feeling they're not going to bring back the royal blue jersey for the upcoming Winter Classic in 2018 on New Year's Day. And if that's the case, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be extremely disappointed if they don't. But you know what? At least the Sabres have cleaned up their uniforms, but let me tell you, the front numbers and the collars, these especially on their home jersey, the updated one, those are still things that are going to make the Sabres jerseys still look kind of mediocre and not as good as what they were once were when they were wearing royal blue and gold instead of navy and gold. I mean, the navy and gold looks pretty decent in my opinion, but this collar is just an eyesore, and the front numbers I just think are stupid. I mean, if they would just get rid of those, have a Reebok collar, and get rid of the front numbers, these jerseys would actually be half decent, in my opinion. And it's a shame that they didn't do it. I mean, at least the Adidas collar here on the away jersey doesn't look quite as noticeable. It's not as big of an eyesore. But anyways, I'm going to move on again, and I'm not going to go too much into detail on the Detroit Red Wings because their home jersey is the exact same. And with this red Adi-Zero collar, it's on their home jersey as well. And with the home jersey, the good news is the Adi-Zero collar, you're barely going to notice it because it's a red collar on a red jersey, eh? But with the Red Wings away jersey, now they no longer have a nice red V-neck with a white fabric insert. It's now a solid red crew neck collar. And personally, I don't like that as much as I liked what they had with Reebok before. It's a bit of a downgrade in terms of the collar, but the rest of the jersey stayed the same, and this is why I'm only featuring the away jersey, not the home one, because the home one's this is red, is still the exact same with the red crew neck collar, except with the away jersey, now it's a solid red collar instead of a red V-neck with a white insert behind it with the NHL shield on it. So this jersey's still very nice, but I wish they would have kept the Reebok collar. It looks so much better than the new Adi Zero collar, but thankfully it's not, the Adi Zero collar doesn't look terrible, completely terrible on this jersey, which I think is a huge plus. So now to move on to these guys, the Florida Panthers. So a couple things to make note of. I did mention in my What Is Known So Far video that sportslogos.net did mention that the Panthers were making a shocking uniform change only one season after switching to this look. So anyways, the first major change is the Adi Zero collar. And look at how big and fat it is. This big gold pentagon block here and the cross stitching here. This collar just sucks. And truth is, I've always felt that this state flag inspired cross stitching was a very clever idea for Florida. But honestly, this collar's just bloody ugly. Jesus Christ. So I do have some good news though for you guys interested in knowing what the change was. The Panthers actually made the crest on the front of their jerseys a little bit bigger. That was it. And to be honest, I figured that the jersey change would have to be something small. Especially when they just got new uniforms, for Christ's sake. But to me, it's a shame that they didn't at least put this logo back onto the shoulders where it should be and put the numbers down here where the logo is. Or even put a little bit of navy blue trim around the numbers. And I think that's a bit too bad in my opinion. And, you know, even something else that would have been actually really cool, in my opinion, is if they would have brought back their original shoulder patch logo, the sun, the palm tree, and the hockey stick on the shoulders. To me, something like that would have been great as well. I mean, I still think that logo is far superior to this boring state flag, this boring Panther on a state flag business they've got going on now. But the uniforms now for the Panthers are a little bit of a downgrade. I personally thought the Reebok collar was very nicely done. This Adi Zero one just sucks. It's ugly. I just think it's terrible. Here's a better picture of the Panthers' slightly updated home uniform. The crest is a little bit bigger. That was the only change for anyone interested. This is the jersey from this past season with the shoulder numbers and everything, and this is it with the Adidas collar. The collar, in my opinion, is a bit of a downgrade, quite a downgrade. But the rest of the design is still not bad. And I will say this, though, the Panthers' new uniforms have grown on me a little bit. They're definitely not terrible, but I still think they could have done a better job with them, at least in my opinion. But also, here's a quick shot of the away jersey with the Adi Zero treatment. The collar is now bigger and fatter than before, but I think that the away jersey collar, they did a much better job of it than they did with the home jersey collar, at least in my honest opinion. Before I go to Montreal, I'll quickly show you the Panthers Reebok jersey, since truth is I did recently pick one up. But see, I like how they did the collar with Reebok and the stitching here, the even brass niblets here. I think, yeah, are those brass niblets? Here, let me check my Montreal jersey. Yeah, they are. Oh my gosh, that's great. But see, this collar looked way better with Reebok than it does with Adidas. And actually, the idea of making the crest a little bit bigger, I'm actually okay with it. But still, I prefer their old logo over this one, to be honest with you guys. But anyways, once again, I am going to move on to cover the Montreal Canadiens. Now, thankfully, the Montreal Canadiens still look as great and as iconic as ever. But for me, they've actually downgraded their uniforms a little bit. And here's why. You guessed it, the Adi Zero collar. Oh, before I go to Ottawa, I'll talk about the Habs first. But in my opinion, this Addy Zero collar is just terrible. I mean, I'm sorry to be picky, and let me see. Do I have another picture of it? Oh yeah, so I don't. But if you were watching through me flipping through the slides, I've given you a bit of a leak of the Maple Leafs away jersey if you haven't seen it yet. So I will be getting to it later on in the video, I promise. But with the Habs new collar, it's fine, but I just don't like it. And it's big and fat now. And actually, do I have another picture of it? Shoot. Just give me a quick second here, you guys. I think... I'm positive I had a photo of it here. Where the hell did it go? Damn. I don't think I do. Alright, that's fine. Okay, forget it. But anyways, you get the point. It's a big, fat, ugly collar. I had a picture of a close-up of the new Canadiens collar, but I apologize for not having the photo here. I thought I did, but I don't. But anyways, this collar here is just not as good as what they just switched to. And I'll show you my Habs jersey to show you what I mean. There we go. So anyways, I think it was just a couple of seasons ago that the Montreal Canadiens decided to switch to this turtleneck style wool collar with the brass niblets here. And in my opinion, this was a beautiful update to what is a truly classic jersey already. Probably the most iconic in all of hockey. And now they've gotten rid of this for this new big fat white collar with blue piping on it. And it's terrible. And by the way, for anyone interested, they've done the exact same thing for their away jersey. They did not fill in the gap between the red and blue on the numbers. It's the exact same jerseys, this one as well, except with the new Adidas collar, of course. But yeah, I mean, these new Adidas collars are horrible. This was beautiful. Look at this. This was great. Now they've gotten rid of it. This really pisses me off with Adidas. And there's something else I will tell you guys once I get to the Maple Leafs here that I think you guys are going to find is just total crap as well. But look at this collar. This collar was amazing. This is beautiful. The new Adidas one is just crap. I'm sorry, but so far I'm just not a big fan of Adidas so far. I'm just not. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if their materials are better on the players. But you know what? If you're going to have better materials, that's great. But make your damn jerseys look good. And in this case, the jersey's great, but the collar's just bloody terrible. Jesus Christ. Anyways, sorry for my brief little rant on the Canadiens' new collars on the Adidas jerseys, but their collars that they had this past season were perfect the way they were, and they were excellent. They really were. And I'm somebody who thought the blue-white-blue collars from the 1993 Stanley Cup win that they had, or which was the last time the Canadiens won the Stanley Cup, were better at first, but now that I've seen the collars, those Reebok ones with the laces and the brass niblets, those are the best collars that Montreal's ever had. And now they've gotten rid of them for this Addy Zero BS, and it's just huge letdown in my opinion. Great jersey still. I still think it's a wonderful jersey. It's the Montreal Canadiens, for Christ's sake. But the wool collars, in my opinion, were a brilliant, brilliant idea. And to see them gone for this, in my opinion, is a huge disappointment. It really is. And I think it's a shame, really. Now, anyways, I'm going to move on to the Ottawa Senators. Now, for anybody wondering, their jerseys are still Reebok-inspired garbage. Ottawa is one of the last remaining teams to continue on with the early 2007 Reebok Edge garbage jerseys. Pittsburgh got rid of this template recently, which is a blessing, and the Tampa Bay Lightning got rid of this damn template years ago. But Ottawa still has it. So now they've switched to a solid black Addy Zero Crew collar, which is fine in my opinion, but still the Reebok collars were better. You won't hear me say that enough in this series. I can't say it enough in this series. I know I sound like a broken record, but these collars suck. And their secondary logo is now higher up on the shoulders, and the numbers on their jerseys are now perforated, and this design of the Reebok template had to be changed a little bit in order to make way for the new Addy Zero jersey template. So that's why the jersey looks a little bit different. So basically the Senators' jerseys did not change. However, their letter and number font is now the exact same as their Heritage third jersey from last season. And that's interesting. So there's a shot of it there. And this is a shot of the Senators' new updated away jersey. And look at that big, ugly red collar that Kyle Turris is sporting. Jesus Christ, it is ugly as sin. Just downright terrible, in my opinion. But anyways, with the Senators, they've now gone with their Heritage third jersey font for their letters and the numbers on their jerseys, and their numbers, are now perforated, which I don't think you guys can see it in this picture here due to the quality of my phone camera, but the numbers on the Senators' jerseys are now perforated, which is kind of a meh thing for me. But for anybody wondering and anybody expressing disappointment as to, oh, why did the Senators not change? Well, I got some good news for you. They're not going to change for this season, clearly, but I hear that they will have new uniforms in time for the 2018-19 season. And personally, I think I'm more than happy to wait. And with the Ottawa Senators, here's the thing. I hear that Eugene Melnick, their owner, wants to establish a more iconic look. And also, to tie this in, the Senators are playing the Canadiens in the NHL 100 Classic, which I believe is happening between October and December. I just don't know when. So if anybody knows, feel free to let me know. I would actually appreciate it. But I know the Senators are playing an outdoor game this coming season against Montreal. And also another interesting little tidbit for you viewers out there. The Senators no longer have their Centurion, this logo, on center ice. Their logo at center ice is now the O. And their website recently was changed to only have the O logo on the shoulders, not this logo. So from the sounds of it, it sounds like the Ottawa Senators will be switching to their O jerseys next season, which honestly, I think that would be a huge upgrade and a great idea. I would like to see them bring back their original Roman Centurion logo and make uniforms based off that, but if they want to switch to the O, I would be okay with that too. I think it would work. But also their farm team, I believe the Belleville Senators, if I'm correct, they just got new uniforms, and their uniforms are the Heritage jerseys that the Senators wore as their third jersey last year. Except instead of vintage white, they're white. Their away jerseys white, and the striping on the black jerseys red and white instead of red and beige, for anybody interested. So anyways, Ottawa will be switching to something to do with the O logo next season, as far as I know. I will know more between now and next summer. But it looks like Ottawa will be switching to the O jerseys after this season, and personally, I can't wait to see that happen. So now the next team on my list is the Tampa Bay Lightning. So instead of actually just going black and white with their same design, which I think would have been the best move in my opinion, Tampa basically kept their design the same, except they got rid of their lace-up collar. I mean, if that's the only thing you're going to change, what the hell's the point? I mean, why did they not just leave their damn laces alone? It's just a head scratcher. I mean, if you're going to make a change, actually change the jersey so you don't look like the goddamned Maple Leafs instead of, just dropping your lace-up collar and still looking like the Maple Leafs. It's just, oh my god, I don't get the Tampa Bay Lightning. If they would just make this jersey black instead of royal blue, this jersey would be awesome. And it's a shame they wouldn't have if they would have just made this jersey black, in my opinion, and had the white V-neck Reebok collar with the laces, from last season, the exact same as it was except in black and white, holy crap, Tampa's home jersey would be amazing. But this, I mean, they dropped the laces. It's just a boring move in my opinion. I could care less about the collar. I mean, this uniform is still too much like Toronto. But speaking of Tampa Bay, they did surprise us though, and sportslogos.net did not see this one coming. And as you can see, the Tampa Bay's away jersey no longer has their logo with a Tampa Bay word mark above it. It's now the same style logo as their home jersey. And I think this is a slight upgrade. But once again, they got rid of the laces. I guess, okay, whatever. It's one of those things I could honestly, in this case, it's something I really could care less about. But, you know, this, in my opinion, is an upgrade over what they had last season. So this is, at least they upgraded something. But if they would have just made these jerseys, this one black and this one white with black stripes and a black logo instead of blue, everything black where it's blue, and kept the laces, I think their jerseys would actually look really quite nice. I mean, I'm glad that they've updated their away jersey logo. This is much better in my opinion, but I think they should have done more. They should have at least added some black striping somewhere. And the fact they didn't, I'm still scratching my head. Like, what the hell were these guys thinking? I mean, I'll give them credit for at least making their away jersey a little bit better by slightly updating the logo, which I thought the word mark on their away jersey logo was dumb anyway, so I'm glad they changed it, but they needed to do more than just take the laces off and slightly update their away jersey logo. They needed to add some black to the jerseys themselves, and they failed to do so. So that's a disappointment. I'm disappointed with Tampa, but their away jersey is an upgrade. That's a good thing. So now to conclude this video, to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm just going to get a quick sip of water here real quick. There we go. But anyways, with the Toronto Maple Leafs, their home and away jerseys, the updated ones, I feel that they could have been a little bit better, but they were still pretty decent, and I love the logo. I mean, come on, this is so much better than the one they've had since 1970, which they used all the way up until this past season, or till the 2015-16 season. But anyway, this is what we had with Reebok. And now this is a look at the Adidas version of their away jersey, which I do have a photo of this one. I did not have a photo of the Habs one, but I know it's the exact same as their home jersey with the new Adidas collar. That's the only change that they did to their uniforms. So Toronto's away jersey still looks not too bad. I heard some people saying they might be looking at adding a shoulder yoke again, which I was hoping that was going to happen, but sadly, they kept it the same. I wish they would have done a little bit more, but they did not. That's fine. Their uniform's still pretty good. But I wish they would have had these two stripes around the waist as well. And I also wish they would have brought back the 3 sets of stripes on their socks again like they did, like they had on their uniforms for the most part since 1992. That would have been a nice change in my opinion, but they did not do that. So this is also an Adidas version of their home jersey. I don't like these collars as much, but the jersey still looks fine. And okay, I'll show you guys that at the end. But yeah, I mean, Toronto, I wish they would have kept this collar. It would have been so much better. But they did not. Also with Toronto, there is one more thing I want to talk about before I move on and conclude this video, and it's that they will be wearing both their St. Pat's jersey from last season and an Arenas throwback this coming season. But here's the bad news. That beautiful wool collar that I have on my Montreal Canadiens jersey will not be on that Arenas throwback. Instead, it's going to have a round Addy Zero crew neck collar instead of the round collars that we've seen it, like for example with Montreal's Winter Classic jersey. And to me, that is a huge disappointment because that would have been a perfect collar for a jersey that's meant to throw back to 100 years ago. I mean, having the crew neck Adidas collar on it is just not the same. And don't worry, you guys, I will have a video about that in the not too distant future once I get this series done. But with Toronto, they've kept their design the same. I still think it's not too bad, but I do think it could have been a little bit better. I would have liked them to have had the same striping around the waist as the arms, but these still look pretty decent, and I still think they're better than what they've had for the most part since 1992. And I'm being honest when I say that. Now, as for the Stadium Series game they are playing against the Washington Capitals this season, I don't know what they're going to do. But this is what frustrated me about the Centennial Classic earlier this year when they played Detroit. Like, imagine if Toronto would have just worn their arenas throwback for that game against Detroit, and they would have had the rounded Reebok wool collar like they did with the Bruins and the Canadiens Winter Classic jerseys from a couple years ago, and the St. Louis Blues Winter Classic jersey from this past season. And not only that, this year, if they would have just worn the arenas throwback, they could have worn that Centennial Classic jersey they wore against Detroit against Washington for the Stadium Series. And that would have been, imagine that, we would have had two awesome jerseys for two outdoor games, rather than having the arenas jersey kind of gypped due to the Adizero collar, and having a Centennial Classic jersey already used when it would have been a perfect Stadium Series jersey, in my opinion. So that is one thing that really disappoints me, to be honest. But anyways, here's one final look at the jerseys in person. I still have to cover the Central and Pacific divisions, but look at that ugly collar on Chicago's home jersey. They took a classic jersey and wrecked it with that collar as far as I'm concerned. And look at that ugly collar insert on Winnipeg's home jersey. Jesus Christ, what the hell was Adidas thinking? Goodness me. But anyways, with that, you guys, after 37 minutes, I'm going to call it a wraps for the second part of my video series sharing my thoughts on all of the new Adizero jerseys for the upcoming 2017-18 season. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until my next one, take care, and of course, as always, bye for now.